Literature, authors, and language. Named for colorful hosiery, what is an old-fashioned term for a female writer? Blue stocking. Rolled trouser bottoms and indecision about eating a peach are beige flags of J. Alfred Prufrock, a principal character created by which 20th century poet? T.S. Eliot. The Greek word hemera, meaning day, gave us what adjective for something short-lived or fleeting? Ephemeral. The opening verse of Rainer Maria Rilke's poem, Archaic Torso, of which Greek god compares said torso to a lamp? Apollo. A sweet Newfoundland named Curly is put to work as a sled dog along with Buck in which classic Jack London novel? The Call of the Wild. On Harvard's official seal, 3 open books spell out which Latin motto meaning truth. Veritas. Of which noiseless patient creature did Walt Whitman write, it launched forth filament, 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 out of itself? Spider. John Steinbeck was originally going to give what title to his 1937 novella, Of Mice and Men? Something that happened. What is a specific term for an epic or lyrical poet, historically used for writers like Homer or Shakespeare? Bard. We curse the subtitles of Women, Work, and the Will to Lead, and Facing Adversity, Building Resilience, and Finding Joy, books written by which corporate executive who famously used the phrase, lean in? Sheryl Sandberg. What 4-letter type of dress or skirt has a hemline that falls midway between the knee and the ankle? Midi. Forensic anthropologist Temperance Brennan returned for the 19th book in Kathy Reich's crime series, titled A Conspiracy of Which Body Parts? Bones. A clever mouse warns various woodland predators about what imaginary monster with terrible teeth in his terrible jaws, in a children's book by Julia Donaldson. Gruffalo. In the book of Revelation, which 2 letters of the Greek alphabet are used in the quote, I am the first and the last, and what thou sayest write in a book. Alpha and Omega. History and politics. Dating back to the 11th century, which historic London landmark served as Sir Walter Raleigh's unwelcome prison address for 13 years? The Tower of London. From 2008 to 2012, who served as the president of Russia while Vladimir Putin took the role of prime minister? Dmitry Medvedev. Pre-World War II Germany is the setting for which Christopher Isherwood book that inspired the musical Cabaret? Goodbye to Berlin. Strip the letter X from a building, added on to a larger one to hail which 18th century English monarch? The forces of Leonidas and Xerxes faced off in 480 BC at which famous mountain pass battle? Thermopylae. In 1758, Halifax was established as the capital of which Canadian province, making it the site of Canada's first representative government? Nova Scotia. Who succeeded François Hollande in 2017 to become the president of France? Emmanuel Macron. The governor of Guerrero once hid in a crate to escape Margarita Neri, a prominent leader of which eponymous group of early 1900s Mexican rebels that was later reborn in the 1990s? Zapatistas. Adalmode of Limoges was the duchess of which historical region centered on Bordeaux, later famously ruled by Queen Eleanor? Aquitaine. Jasper Jack Daniel was the actual founder of which famous Tennessee whiskey brand? Jack Daniels. Geography and places. Which European country is one of the world's fast fashion pioneers, home to the end-of-the-alphabet retail giant Zara and perennially listed among its most valuable nations? Spain. 1/3 of the territory of which major European nation, famous for its fjords and capital city of Oslo, lies within the Arctic Circle? Norway. Located a bit east of Madrid, dams on which river form an artificial lake known as the Sea of Castile? Tagus. The geographic center of Alaska is about 60 miles northwest of which mountain, the highest peak in North America? Denali. Between Calabria, the toe of Italy, and Puglia, the heel, sits which region, functioning geographically as the arch of the Italian boot? Basilicata. Bigger than Banff, which Alberta destination is Canada's largest national park in the Canadian Rockies? Jasper National Park. Known as the Roosevelt Highway when it opened in 1929, what is the oceanic name of California's State Route 1? Pacific Coast Highway. This pilgrimage city located about 250 miles from Mecca was once known as Yathrib before being renamed in honor of the Prophet Muhammad. What is its modern name? Medina. Ecuador's embassy in London, famously known as the refuge for Julian Assange, is located in which affluent district that contains a word for a type of sir, knight, and a type of span, dog, in its name? Knightsbridge. Pop culture, movies, and television. As Sheriff Jim Hopper on Stranger Things, David Harbour finds science can't explain everything, unlike his previous role playing a scientist working on the atomic bomb on which TV series? Manhattan. Comedian Margaret Cho described which sharp-tongued, can we talk, funny lady as gentle and loving and warm in real life? Joan Rivers. The iconic soundtrack for the 1986 film Top Gun includes Mighty Wings by Cheap Trick and which high-energy hit song by Kenny Loggins? Danger Zone. Famous for his educational non-profit academy, which tech pioneer and educator wrote the book Brave New Words about AI and the future of education? Salman Khan. In the movie Jaws, Richard Dreyfuss's character Matt Hooper famously states that what specific shark behavior, as you know, means friendship. Lovemaking. Which actress has shown her versatility by playing She-Hulk on Marvel series, as well as multiple identical clones including Sarah Manning, Alison Hendricks, and Rachel Duncan on Orphan Black. Tatiana Maslany. In the classic 1952 musical film, Singin' in the Rain, which character played by Gene Kelly works as a stuntman elevated to a leading man just as talking pictures arrive. Don Lockwood. A YouTube user and Yosemite visitor named HungryBear9562 charmed the internet in 2010 with his tearful, awestruck reaction to what natural phenomenon? Double rainbow. Later becoming the New York Times master of enigmatology, which puzzle constructor from Indiana sold his very first crossword puzzle when he was just 14 years old. Will Shortz. For his performance in which 1960 drama film did Burt Lancaster win an Oscar playing a fast-talking, charismatic salesman turned Elmer Gantry preacher? Elmer Gantry. Diane Keaton's real-life nickname and birth surname became the title role for which 1977 Woody Allen romantic comedy film that won her a Best Actress Oscar? Annie Hall. Lisa and Walter played the nanny Chessie to identical twins played by Lindsay Lohan in which 1998 Disney remake? The Parent Trap. John C. Reilly reprised his animated title voice role in a 2018 Disney sequel subtitled What Phrase That Describes an Internet Meltdown? Ralph Breaks the Internet. Great Scott. In 1989, which original James Bond actor was described as older, balder, and better, making fans wish he had actually competed on Celebrity Jeopardy. Sean Connery. What English title was given to the 2003 Hollywood remake of the 1969 British caper film originally released in Italy as Un colpo all'italiana? The Italian Job. Which Lizzo track was edged out for the 2023 Song of the Year, but won Record of the Year, making her think of its very positive title? About Damn Time. Prince, an icon of the 1980s music scene, fronted which heavily styled backing band known for the hit album Purple Rain? The Revolution. Science, Space and Nature. Commercial bunches of which popular yellow fruit can consist of 9 hands, and weigh between 50 and 140 pounds? Banana. The elephant type of what culinary bulb can weigh a pound or more and is actually more closely related to the leek than to garlic, the stinking rose? Garlic. Democritus and other ancient Greek philosophers believed what tiny, indivisible particles were inert solids that interact mechanically. Atoms. To build strong, protective eggshells for their young, hens will dynamically dissolve their own bones to extract which chemical element? Calcium. Meaning, my soulmate, the Spanish idiom, mi media naranja, literally translates to my half of which citrus fruit? Orange. The name of which West African antelope can also refer to a set of connected hand drums often used in Latin music? Bongo. Nearly 30% of the moon's near side is covered in which dark, fine-grained igneous rock, whose holes were formed by gas bubbles trapped in cooling lava? Basalt. An impressive crater 53 miles in diameter located in the southern highlands of the moon is named for which eccentric 16th-century Danish astronomer? Tycho Brahe. In 1968, the astronauts of which Apollo mission became the very first humans to launch into space and successfully orbit the moon? Apollo 8. Sports and games. What alliterative term is used in American football to describe fans or pundits who second-guess and criticize a team's Sunday strategy the following day? Monday morning quarterback. Which 2024 Olympic gold medalist sprinter carried on a vibrant tradition of elaborate black nail art originally popularized by past track icons like Florence Griffith Joyner? Sha'Carri Richardson. Based on the rules of casino gaming featured in the Ian Fleming book, Casino Royale, James Bond plays and wins a 32 million franc bet in which high-stakes card game? Baccarat. What quick, 5-letter word describes a group of commercial vehicles, such as taxis, rental cars, or boats, that are owned and operated together as a unit? Fleet. From the Greek for, four-sided, what geometric term describes a three-dimensional solid made up of 4 triangular plane faces? Tetrahedron. Miscellaneous and culture. The U.S. Mint issued a 5-ounce silver coin in 2013 honoring which historic Maryland fort alluded to in The Star-Spangled Banner? Fort McHenry. Proposing a rethink of the Old Testament law of an eye for an eye, what type of biblical retribution is famously described as a cycle that will leave everyone blind? Vengeance. Parade magazine once answered the age-old joke question, why did the chicken cross the road? By humorously stating it was done to show what armored mammal it was possible. Armadillo. Thailand is home to more than 30,000 temples because its population of 70 million people predominantly follows which Eastern religion? Buddhism. Ancient Clovis spear points have been discovered in New Mexico embedded among the prehistoric bones of which extinct, trunked pachyderms? Mammoths. Born January 17, 1942, to a Baptist mother and a Methodist father, which legendary heavyweight boxing athlete announced his conversion to Islam in 1964? Muhammad Ali. In April 2018, a Major League Baseball game was postponed in Toronto after falling ice from the CN Tower punctured the roof of which stadium? Rogers Center. To be entirely honest, it takes only an hour to fly from Chicago's O'Hare Airport to the Springfield, Illinois airport named after which U.S. President? Abraham Lincoln. In the classic Christmas carol, O Come, All Ye Faithful, what 2 festive adjectives immediately follow the opening line, O come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant? If you want maximum liquid volume when drinking draft beer at a pub, You should ask your bartender to serve it in what kind of wide-mouthed glass? Schooner. In Greek mythology, what magical quest item was sought after by Jason and the Argonauts aboard the ship Argo to help him reclaim his rightful throne? Golden fleece. What political and civic term is used to describe the collective body of all individuals within a country or specific area who are legally eligible to vote? Electorate. China's Sichuan province is world famous for its hot and spicy cuisine, including dan dan noodles and what stir-fried chicken dish named after a palace guardian court official? Kung Pao chicken. Phrase translations and fragments. What phrase completes the standard English idiom meaning to experience direct physical movement or duplicate someone's path, as in, a piece of land and followed? In the footsteps. A bar mitzvah is a traditional religious ceremony marking the entry of a Jewish boy into the adult community, and typically takes place at what specific age? 13. The Christ the Redeemer statue overlooking Rio de Janeiro is structurally composed of what heavy, reinforced construction material, finished with an outer protective layer of soapstone tiles? Concrete. Serving as the basis for a classic 1951 film, which C.S. Forester adventure novel tells the wartime story of a Methodist missionary rescued by a rugged riverboat captain. The African Queen. Con. Prefix clues. What political term describes a specific body of citizens or voters residing within an electoral district who choose a representative for parliament? Constituency. What is the common name for the massive, critically endangered New World vultures found in the Americas, including the California and Andean varieties? Condor. What astronomical term describes an officially recognized group or pattern of stars forming a perceived figure in the night sky? Constellation. What word refers to a confusing, difficult, or intricate problem, or a riddle whose answer involves a pun? Conundrum. What business term describes a multi-industry company or corporation made up of several totally distinct and independent businesses? Conglomerate. What culinary term refers to a preparation such as ketchup, mustard, or relish that is added to food primarily to impart a specific flavor? Condiment. What is the professional title for a hotel staff member whose job is to assist guests by booking tours, making restaurant reservations, and arranging transportation? Concierge. What is the specific term for a private, locked meeting of the College of Cardinals convened to elect a new pope? Conclave. What botanical term describes any gymnosperm tree or shrub that bears cones and evergreen needle-like leaves, such as pines and firs? Conifer. What medical term describes a temporary type of traumatic brain injury usually caused by a violent blow, bump, or jolt to the head? Concussion. What real estate term describes a large property complex divided into individual units that are each privately owned, alongside shared common areas? Condominium. What is the formal, legal term for compulsory enlistment or state-mandated enrollment of citizens into a nation's military service? Conscription. What legal term refers to any goods or merchandise that have been imported or exported illegally, or are prohibited by law? Contraband. What religious term refers to a community of priests, religious brothers, or especially nuns living together under monastic vows? Convent. What official title is given to a government official appointed to live in a foreign city to protect the state's commercial interests and its citizens abroad? Consul. What legal term describes a voluntary, deliberate, and legally binding agreement between two or more competent parties? Contract. What musical title is given to the person who directs the performance of an orchestra or choir using visible gestures and a baton? Conductor. What geographical term describes any of the world's main continuous expanses of land, typically identified as 7 distinct regions? Continent. What entertainment term describes an acrobatic performer who showcases extreme physical flexibility by bending their body into unusual positions? Contortionist. What word refers to a general agreement, collective solidarity, or shared harmony of opinion reached by a group as a whole? Consensus. What political and social philosophy promotes retaining traditional social institutions and practices, often opposing rapid progressive changes? Conservative. What historical term refers to any of the 16th century Spanish explorers and soldiers who conquered the indigenous empires of the Americas? Conquistador. What celebratory term describes small pieces or streamers of colored paper that are traditionally thrown at weddings, parades, and parties? Confetti. What legal and criminal term describes a secret plan or agreement made by 2 or more people to commit an unlawful, harmful, or treasonous act? Conspiracy. What economic term refers to a person or entity that purchases goods and services for direct personal use rather than for resale or manufacturing? Consumer.